Okay, so I want to tell a little story. This would be another, what I call a secondhand story that I wasn't actually there for, that someone just told me. But, like always, good enough, you just have to tell it. And for the first time ever, I'm going to tell this one from a first person point of view, as if I'm that guy telling the story. I just wanted to do that. Whatever. From this guy named Jeff Peck. This car salesman from the Atlantic Auto Group when I took a car salesman class there one time. And this guy is one of the most funny, entertaining people I've ever met in my life. I would have taken that car salesman class again just to sit there and listen to him talk and tell stories. This isn't like supposed to be a really funny story, but it's just interesting. Okay, so it's 1982. And I'm selling cars at this car lot over in Queens. And I'm standing on the lot, and I see these three young black kids kind of milling around the lot, checking out cars. And, of course, people are kind of racist back then. You see a couple of black kids poking around the store or a car lot. You just assume they're there to rob the place, or they're just there for no reason. They're poor, they can't afford a car, whatever. So none of the other salesmen would go near them. And I'm like, well, you guys are idiots. You're going to miss a sale. You want to miss a sale? Fine, I'll take it. See what these kids want. So I walk up to them and I say, yeah, can I help you kids? And they're like, oh, yes, sir. We're not buying a car per se, but our uncle is interested in a car. And we just came down here for him. We're just checking it out for him, and we're going to report back. He might come by later. I said, oh, cool. Yeah, whatever. Bring your uncle, and we'll talk. So it was either that day or the next day, same three black kids come back with their uncle in tow. I start talking to the uncle a few minutes, and then the uncle looks at me and goes, you know who these kids are? These kids are part of a hip-hop group. They're called Run DMC. I'm their manager, and I'm telling you, they're going to be the biggest thing in hip-hop. And this was 1982, and I was already an older white guy, and hip-hop was still kind of underground and not very mainstream. People like me really didn't know anything about it. And I look at them and said, what the hell is hip-hop? But when I find out who these guys were later on, I said, holy shit, I hit a gold mine. Because not only did they buy a car that day, they came not too long after and bought another car. And then after that, they bought a third car from me and a fourth. And well into them being the biggest thing in hip-hop and, being world famous and everything, they continued to come down to my dealerships and buy cars. Even when I moved on to another dealership, they moved over there and bought more cars. And now it's 2013 and they're still buying cars to this day. So my lesson to you is that don't ever treat someone like they're not a customer. They look like a kid, they look poor, they look homeless, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because you don't know who that person is. They could be a millionaire. You don't know who they are. A billionaire. They could go buy out your whole car dealership in one day. And if I had been like those other idiots on my car lot, those other salesmen, I would have missed out. And someone else would have got that. And Run DMC would be buying cars from them to this day and not me. And they'd be telling that story. So always keep that in mind when you guys get out on the lot. Yeah, so it's me again. I thought that was an awesome story. When it comes to like customer service, I always think about that, what he told me, and keep it in mind. It's a great lesson to learn when you're a salesman, because you really never know what you're missing out on. Never know. So that was my little secondhand first-person story about my old car salesman class teacher, Jeff Peck, and how He was the only one to approach those black kids on the car lot in 1982, and they turned out to be none other than Run DMC, and loved him so much they were still buying cars from him 30 years later. What a deal. What a fucking deal.